So who wants to go to the Red Sea? Who wants to go to the Middle East and fight some Houthis? Hands up, let's go and smite some Houthis. Who are the Houthis? They're a bunch of people in Yemen who've been fighting Saudi Arabia in a civil war for over 10 years. It was a ceasefire last year. They are battle-hardened, and their program is they are blocking oil tankers and other ships in the Red Sea, because they're right on the Red Sea in North Africa, which leads up to the Suez Canal. And they're saying anybody that continues to supply Israel, we will blockade their ship. And they're literally firing missiles at them unless the US and Israel start to provide humanitarian aid to the people in Gaza. That's pretty much what's going on at the moment. The Houthis, we're going to see a lot of bad press against them because they are financed, they are backed by Iran. And of course, Israel wants to goad America into invading Iran. So the big news this week appears to be, and it's a bit early yet, that Albo has actually refused an invitation by the US to go to war, at least to send a ship off as part of Operation Monstrosity Protection? No, Operation Prosperity Guarantee. That's what they're calling it. It's a bunch of Western countries going off to fight the Houthis and to stop the Houthis blockading supplies to Israel. Well, there was much pearl clutching and gnashing of teeth in the Murdoch media today when it appeared that the PM, Anthony Albanese, would not be sending a ship off to fight the Houthis. This kind invitation to pack young Australians off to yet another US war, this time in the Middle East. Is this a first from Albo, this display of sovereignty and independent behaviour? Mind you, we've just opened up a base for US troops in Stirling, Western Australia this very week. The news came out to pay them, well, not only as part of the AUKUS deal, where we're paying them $370 billion for the AUKUS submarines, but we've also lent them the privilege now of becoming a parking lot for the US military. Yes, having a US military base on Australian soil. Now, Rex Patrick this week, our star columnist, he had a poll on Twitter. He also basically revealed on the website that we would be taking US and UK nuclear waste from their submarines, as well as disposing of our own nuclear waste. We were never asked, but there you go. That deal's been done, despite Defence Minister Richard Marles saying that no, we would not be taking the nuclear waste of other countries. Rex did some FOIs and it showed, yes, we are. But in any case, back to the Houthis. Rex polled this US request. Should Australia send a warship to the Red Sea in response to Iran-backed Houthi rebels threatening to block ships heading to Israel, while the offensive on Gaza continued? How should the government respond? Well, he got about 2,500 respondents, 90% of which, almost 90%, said no, we should not send a ship to fight the Houthis or to protect shipping lanes in the Middle East. Now, it was a Twitter poll, and Sky News indeed would have got a different result had they polled their highly intelligent audience. But this is what we've got, 90%. And so it was that just a little bit after Rex's poll, probably a coincidence, but it wouldn't have done any damage, Albo has basically ruled out sending a ship to be part of Operation Prosperity Guarantee. Yes, this operation is about protecting shipping lanes in the Middle East, but the Houthis are targeting the Netanyahu government genocide of the Palestinians and their failure on humanitarian grounds. They want supplies through to Gaza. They're targeting Israel's ports. So it's really all about the bloodthirsty regime of Benjamin Netanyahu in Tel Aviv. Our friend Benjamin, not so much about ruining world trade. How they must be cursing this guy Netanyahu behind the scenes in Washington, London, and the capitals of Europe, backing this slaughter. This guy who has totally conned them that it's about the self-defense of Israel. Instead, it's cost America its prestige globally. It's destroyed Israel's goodwill. It's given rise to anti-Semitism. It's made Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping look like voices of moderation. It's left the two-state solution in tatters in Israel. And above all, it's destroyed the lives of tens of thousands of Palestinians with yet no respite. Joe Biden, with his millions over the years in Zionist lobby funding, is surely looking like the new Neville Chamberlain. They have bought a pup here. Netanyahu has conned them. And so it is that the world order is changing as the corporate media meekly toes the line still of those who will continue to justify war crimes in Israel. Another nail in their propagandist coffin. And the byproducts. The oil price has spiked, which leads to inflation, of course. Oil goes into almost everything. That's a nice one for the cost of living, people struggling with the cost of living, not to mention the damage to the climate from all this explosives and all the military operations. We've now had calls by the war lobby on the mainstream media, that's what we're getting right at the moment, by analysts on news networks calling for US action against Iran because Iran backs the Houthis. It is really looking like blowing up big time. And so Albo has made the right call. Probably out of necessity, because after 10 years of coalition neglect and incompetence in defence procurement, we don't probably have the military capability to join this force anyway. And also because support for the war crimes of the Netanyahu government has left him leaking votes to the Greens and the Independents. Realistically, if we're going to be defending shipping routes, they should be around this massive country of ours, around our region, and not fighting somebody else's war for a genocidal maniac. So Albo's in an extremely tricky position with geopolitics, more so than any Australian PM for many years. It's costing us a bomb, AUKUS. The revelations this week that a massive US military base has been approved for Perth by stealth. That's the HMAS Sterling Naval Base in Perth, which is effectively America's Indian Ocean submarine base. Over 700 US personnel, plus their families, plus UK personnel, plus support personnel, plus those 4 US subs which are meant to be on the way, 1 extra sub from the UK. Who's paying? We are footing the bill for the lot of it. And as Rex broke the story a few days ago, not only that, but when the AUKUS officials, the generals and all the defence people do their trips down under, who's paying for their airfares? Who's paying for all this? We are. We bought a dummy. How much is this going to cost, this naval base in Perth? Probably $8 billion, people are saying. And then there's the cost of storing the nuclear waste, also to be built on defence land in Perth. All of which ties us more closely to the US, makes us a target if there ever was to be a war with China. The world is going multipolar. And is there any consensus? I don't recall being asked if I'd like a US military takeover of Australia. Do you? Were you asked if you would like to pay US $380 billion so they could park their nuclear subs here? Would it be okay too if they just disposed of their nuclear waste too? Well, I don't know anybody who was ever asked. Here's the scary bit. What if Donald Trump gets re-elected? What if the Donald becomes the new senior partner in this AUKUS alliance? His hand, the hand of the Donald, on the red button. If you didn't laugh, you'd cry. Heads up on a couple of other yarns. We've got word back from the Future Fund. We caught them investing in Albo Systems, which is the mob in Israel, its largest defence company, which makes the bombs that are killing the people in Gaza. We asked if they'd divest from Albo Systems, and they said no. You can see that story on the website. In fact, they've made money out of this because, of course, Albo has been doing rather nicely. Its shares going up this year. We're just looking at the evidence with all this stuff and trying to deliver it straight as a counterpoint to the mainstream media, which is failing to deliver proper evidence-based journalism. So we thank you for your support. Please like, comment, share below.